Welcome to the Beer, Rum, and Rock and Roll Podcast. Saving rock, one conversation at a time. If you're watching on YouTube, do me a solid and hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on Apple, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, and X. I'm your host, Randy Legault, and today we're sitting down with a true legend of the bass guitar. He redefined what the bass could do, from his early days in TALAS to anchoring one of the most explosive lineups in rock history as part of the David Lee Roth Band, and later co-founded the multi-platinum Mr. Big and the Winery Dogs. His unique approach to the instrument, combined with relentless stage energy, have set the gold standard for bass players worldwide. Joining us today is the one and only Billy Sheehan. Billy, welcome to the show, man.
I got a lot to live up to now here.
How's it going, man?
It's going good.
Thanks a lot for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it, man.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Okay, let's get into it. We're celebrating a massive milestone this year. 40 years ago this summer, in July of 1986, David Lee Roth released his debut solo album, Eat 'Em and Smile. It's you on bass, Steve Vai on guitar, Gregg Bissonette on drums, and Dave on vocals, of course. Now, can you tell me how this amazing band came together? Can you give me that story?
I can. I've just done it about 16,000 times, but I'll give it to you.
No problema.
Dave called me out of nowhere and asked me if I wanted to have a meeting with him about his movie. So I was starting a tour with TALAS, opening for Yngwie Malmsteen, his first U.S. tour.
Right.
And so I was on my way to LA anyway. So I said, well, I'll be there. So we'll have a meeting. So I got there, went to his house, and he said, there is a movie, but that's not why I called you. I said, well, what's going on? He goes, I just quit Van Halen and I want to start a band. So you and me, let's go find a guitar player and a drummer and start a band. And I said, okay.
Piece of cake.
It was,
yeah,
pretty easy. And I already knew of Steve, and I recommend him, and he was the right man for the job by far. And then Dave gave Steve and I the task of going out in the wilds of Hollywood and discovering a fabulous drummer. We had rehearsals for drummers, and a lot of people showed up. A lot of there were known players as well. But the moment Gregg Bissonette walked in, we knew he was the guy. Pretty much hired him on the spot for as much authority as Dave gave us at that point. And sure enough, he was the perfect guy for the job, and he's still a dear friend of mine, of course. And that's how it started. And we went off and wrote the songs, and it was going to be in a movie. The movie got tanked by the movie company, and so we just said, well, let's just go tour anyway. And that was Eat 'Em and Smile.
Now, you were friends with the Van Halen brothers from your days in TALAS. Is that right? Would that be correct to say?
Yeah, we opened up for them in 1980, 30 shows. Became friends, and I stayed in touch with Eddie since then. And we talked a lot. We spoke many times about the possibility of me playing in the band with them. It never came to be, but about 3 separate occasions it was serious.
The reason I ask you that, Billy, is was there any hesitation on your part joining Dave with all that animosity that was going on between those two camps? Was that ever a consideration for you?
There was no evidence of that at that time.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
No.
Okay, cool. Take me into that rehearsal space, Billy. The first time you guys get together to jam, set the scene. Like, was there instant chemistry?
Yeah, well, Steve and I, we never knew each other, but I knew of him, and I think we'd spoken on the phone a couple times because we were on the same label. TALAS and Steve Vai were both on Relativity Records out of New York City. So at one point I was going to do something with him just way before any of this happened. That's how I knew of him and recommended him for the gig. So when we got together, Steve and I kind of already had an unknown connection to each other's past. We were both into a lot of the same things. I was a big Zappa fan.
Sure.
And we could recite verbatim about 3, 4, maybe 5 Frank Zappa records. Recite the whole thing.
Right.
And I got into Zappa way, way early in the Freak Out and Absolutely Free records, his first two. And then also a lot of other things. We were into Hendrix, of course, but early David Bowie stuff and a lot of other bands that we were both into. So we already shared kind of a common language. And Steve is pretty schooled musically. I'm not. So he'd go to explain something. I'd say, oh, you mean like that Hendrix thing? Oh, yeah. Okay, I know what you mean. So we knew how to communicate with each other. And Gregg Bissonette was just a joy to work with. And you could just give him anything and he would figure it out and play it and be awesome at it. So we were lucky that all of us had experience playing and performing. I mean, I've done thousands and thousands, literally, of gigs prior to that and played just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of songs playing in TALAS through the years. So that helps when you get together and you want to write, a million songs. So you can explain things by referring to some other song that everyone knows about. It makes the writing process a lot easier. And Dave is really good at just picking and choosing parts. So we jam on something. Oh, yeah, that's good. Now give me something that sounds like a chorus. Oh, yeah, that's cool. Right. We get it down pretty quick. It was painless and a lot of fun. It was cool.
That leads me into my next question, Billy, perfectly. Like, to me, like, you're not just a hired gun. Like, you're a songwriter and arranger yourself. So when you're putting these songs together, like, were you guys worried about stepping on Dave's toes, or was he super open to your ideas and the collaboration? What was the vibe that way?
He wanted more of everything.
Right on.
In an Elephant Gun, Steve did this wild lick in a little break, and he came up, Billy, you got to double that. Play with Steve. Like, oh, okay. So we do that. Do some stuff here. He wanted it to be wild and crazy, and we were happy to oblige.
I'm gonna be your dark stranger, contact man between you and danger. I'll protect you, baby, with my elephant gun.
It was a great, great time. I had a wonderful time, and I am so grateful to Dave for what an amazing adventure that was.
Oh, I bet. We'll get to it. We'll get more in detail. So did you bring Shy Boy to him, Billy, or like was he super responsive to that immediately? Like, did he know that track or?
Yeah, he knew that because of TALAS, and he wanted to do it. So I said, okay, let's do it.
That was it. Let's do it.
That was it.
Now, another question that came to mind, Billy, was I know Dave loves his cover tunes, right? And there's 3 on the album on top of Shy Boy. Like, did you guys push him at all for more originals or just kind of went with what he wanted to do?
We just went for it. There weren't any really rules or boundaries or anything like that.
Right.
So, as a matter of fact, we're almost finished with a record of the songs that didn't make Eat 'Em and Smile. There was about 5 or 6 of them. They were by other artists. And we almost did them on Eat 'Em and Smile records. So myself and a great drummer, Ray Lugier from Korn, he's a production partner of mine. We do bass and drums for a lot of clients around the world.
Yep.
And a bunch of other dear friends of ours around the world, guitar players and singers, are putting out a record, should be out in a couple months, of the songs that didn't make the Eat 'Em and Smile record.
Oh, awesome.
Pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. So There's a couple copy tunes in there. A song by great Canadian artist Kim Mitchell.
Kids in Action, I think that track is. Is that right?
You are correct, sir.
Right.
A band called Stray Dog, which was one of the templates for Van Halen. And when Dave told us about that band and the song he wanted to do, he explained how that's kind of how Van Halen modeled themselves after that band, Stray Dog. And the song is called Speak of the Devil, and it harkens back to Running with the Devil, which was the Van Halen song.
Drunk in every bar. People say I'm going far. I believe it. Stand back. Look out. Because the devil.
A couple other songs by a few other artists that we were going to cover on that record that we didn't get to record, but so it should be an interesting album. And then we did a few remakes of some of the less notable songs on, or less popular songs on the Eat 'Em and Smile. So it'll be out in a couple months.
Oh man, I look forward to that. That sounds awesome, dude. Right on. Let's talk about the actual recording process, Billy. Like, you got the guy who produced all the Van Halen albums at the helm. So talk about what a producer like Ted Templeman brings to the project. What's his approach and how did that go down?
Ted is a grand master, and he is a master of so many different kinds of music, as well as what the amazing job he did with Van Halen. And so when it came time to do the big band, Frank Sinatra, That's Life, or I'm Easy, he was right at home with that stuff too.
Right.
High speed, fast double bass drum rock to anything. Ted is one of the greatest producers ever. And it was a sweet, sweet guy, a wonderful guy. He just let us do our thing and was there to jump in when we needed him. He made it very easy, and I think he was one of the secret weapons and the secret reasons why that record did so well.
Right on. Now, are you guys all playing in a room together, or are you doing your parts separately? What was that process like?
Eat 'Em and Smile, we were all playing pretty much together.
Right on.
And playing it down for real. We recorded some stuff at the Power Station in New York City, some stuff in LA, some stuff in up in Berkeley, California. Yeah, it was an easy process. No trickery. It didn't exist back then. There's no pitch correction or the fixes we have now. You can make somebody sound much better than they actually are. And I love Dave's voice. I love Dave's voice. I thought he had a great voice.
Me too.
Ted did a great job, and that was a pretty easy process.
The interplay between you and Steve is killer on this album, like Yankee Rose or Elephant Gun. Christ, just pick one. It's just amazing. I'm curious how you and Steve like mesh your bass, his guitar parts to match, speaking of Dave's voice, that loose swagger vocally he had without eating up like all the sonic space kind of thing. How did you guys work that out? Does that make sense?
Yeah, but it's more timing than frequency.
Right.
And when he's singing, play the root note. It's only when there's no vocal there, we try not to step on it, so to speak. So then we just kind of let it go, and you use your instinct. Because, like I said before, we played thousands of songs, so you kind of know they're singing here. So you got to back off and let the audience hear the vocals. So nobody had to figure anything out or get a slide ruler or calculus or calculator out. It's a song. When there's lyrics, you hear the lyrics. When there's space, put some stuff in it, maybe or not, or drum fill. Didn't really require any kind of thinking.
Right.
More instinct.
Let's talk about that rhythm section, man. As you well know, the connection between the bass player and the drummer is vital. So how did you and Gregg lock into a groove on this album that could swing with Dave but still rock? Did you guys put a lot of thought into that?
Well, Gregg has his background was a lot of big bands also. And my first band out of high school was a band with 4 horns. We had alto, tenor, trombone, and trumpet, and we did Chicago Transit Authority, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Ides of March, all kinds of bands with horns in them. So I got used to early on playing the kind of motif, that swing that you do with horns. And so Gregg was good at that. He also was a huge Beatles fan. Plays with Ringo now, so it all came home to him, and I was too. So a lot of the musicians I work with, if we have a common ground of an artist that we were into in our youth or recently or at some point in our careers, that's usually the connection. And Gregg was just really good at Buddy Rich style stuff, a big band things. I love that. It just kind of automatically happened. And again, a lot of people think, oh, they must have sat down with a big sheet of paper and mapped all this out and figured it. They got calculuses and consulting firms and called in other people to explain how the molecular density of a particular sonic sound. We got together in the basement and played, and that's what happened.
Right. Awesome. Let's talk about you, man. Your bass tone and that rapid fire 3-finger technique thing you do and the tapping. I mean, it blew a lot of people's minds in 86. I know it did mine. Did you feel that back then, that you were doing something unique at that time?
I got like hammer-ons where you're hitting the neck on the bass to get a note. I got that in 74 when I saw Billy Gibbons play. So he'd bend a note and then hit it. And we had never seen that. They played in Buffalo, New York, New Year's Eve, opening for Alice Cooper. And I saw Billy Gibbons bend a note and hit it with his right hand. What? And I went home, got my bass out. This was way before Van Halen. So through the years, people would always say, "Oh, you do hammering. You must have got that from Ed Van Halen." I go, "No. Ed is a grandmaster, but I got it from Billy Gibbons."
Right.
So years later, I was in LA and there was a studio session going on, and somebody called, "Hey, come on down. Got some friends here. Say hello." Okay, I didn't know who was there. I showed up, and there's Billy Gibbons. I'd never met him before, and I love him so much. I go, "Oh my God, Billy's great to meet you." So we went in the other room and sat down while everybody else did their thing, and we talked for hours. It was so great. So at the end of the night, I said, "Billy, thanks for spending time with me, man. What a joy." It was such a riot to talk with him too. And he goes, "Oh, hold on a second, I got something for you." So he reaches in his bag and he pulls out a framed photo of himself autographed to me.
No
and
way.
I was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing. Thank you." I still got it up in my studio at home right now. I go, "What's this for?" He goes, "I read what you've been saying about me in the press." And he goes, "Keep it up."
Perfect. Yeah, he's a cool dude, isn't he? Now, other than Billy Gibbons on guitar, who were your influences on bass specifically?
Tim Boger, Vanilla Fudge,
Oh, yeah.
Paul Samwell Smith from the Yardbirds, Mel Shacker from Grand Funk, Chris Squire, John Entwistle, Jack Bruce. Name a bass player that anybody knew prior to 1980.
Right.
Everybody. And not just bass. I listened to a lot of sax players and piano players, guitar, of course. A lot of classical music I listened to, learned a lot of classical pieces on bass, figured them out by ear and stuff. But what you said earlier about bass and drums being so vital in their connection.
Yes.
The guy who started me playing bass, he was an older guy that lived around the corner, and they wouldn't let me come into their rehearsals when I was a little kid, just a little kid, and they were playing in a big band in Buffalo. And I go out, sit in the driveway and listen to them before I even owned a bass. And one day he let me in to, say hi or something. And he was in there with the drummer and they were playing. I said, "Joe, how come it's just you and the drummer?" And he said, "Well, every time the drummer hits a drum, I got to play a bass note." So before I even owned a bass, I knew that was the thing that made bass work in a band, is you played what the drummer plays. And even now, as I sit here and practice my right hand, I'm just doing drum rudiments and drums and drumming and combinations of things that make rhythmic sense. The drums were so important to me that drummers as well became a huge influence on me. Not only bass and many different kinds of music, but drummers as well. And any band I would go see, even now to this day, I watch the drummer. If he's okay, then I see who else is on stage. If he's not, and then we're gone. Let's go find some other band.
Totally. It starts there, doesn't it? Hey, Matt, back to the album. I thought this is an interesting side note to talk about. Dave re-records the album completely in Spanish, which I thought was awesome. I read that was your idea. Is that true?
Yeah, we were flying back from New York City, and I had a Time magazine that was talking about the youth demographic in Latin America was insane. There were millions and millions and millions of record buying age. And I thought, aha. And I knew Dave spoke rudimentary Spanish. I go, we should do the record in Spanish. So all the guys around Dave that were their people that worked for him and were alleged management or advisors or whatever.
Yeah.
"Oh, that's a stupid idea. Oh, it's stupid." No, it's crazy. So I said, well, I just thought since Dave speaks Spanish, we could do the record in Spanish and open up a whole market of South America, Mexico, all over the place.
Totally.
So a week goes by, and then one of the Psycho fans said, hey, we should do the record in Spanish. I go, I already, the urge and the idea was taken away from me, but I don't care. No big deal. But I went in and sang it with him, and we did it in the studio in Beverly Hills. And Missing Persons was in there during the day, and we would go in at night and sing. And Dave would teach me how to phonetically "Vuelto loco el calor." I sing all the Spanish, so tímido, tímido. So I don't speak Spanish, but I can phonetically get it out.
Sure.
And so the microphone I had was Dale Bozio's mic, and it had her lipstick, makeup, and perfume all over it. So as I was singing she smells divine.
I get a kick out of it for sure. Now, the album drops 3 months after Van Halen releases 5150 with Sammy on vocals, of course. Did it feel like a competition when you guys hit the road in 86? Like, was there pressure, or did you guys just focus on doing your thing and put that out of your head? Or what was the vibe that way?
We kind of put it out of our minds. We didn't really pay a lot of attention.
Right.
Because when you're in a situation like that, you got a billion things to deal with and take care of. And a huge show and learn the whole thing and get everything together. And we didn't have time to wonder what anyone else was doing.
Right.
So we just did our thing. I love Sammy Hagar, great singer. I love all the Van Halen guys. I love all of them. Kind of tough for me as a fan and all of us in the band as fans, when a little bit of infighting started out.
It was sad to see, but we just kind of ignored it.
We were with Dave and happy to be there and happy to do whatever we needed to do to make the show as good as we possibly could. And that was our concern.
Right on. So when you're rehearsing for that tour, Billy, I would imagine Dave's full of ideas, like he always is, and telling you guys what he wanted to see in a live setting. Like, what kind of input is he giving the band? Do you remember?
Not much, because Steve had played with Frank Zappa and played all over the place. With TALAS, we'd open up for Van Halen and Aerosmith and all these huge bands and toured all over the country and toured in Europe with UFO,
all kinds of things we'd done. So we weren't beginners by any means.
But one thing he did do is we did solos. There was a break for a little drum solo, guitar solo, bass solo.
Right.
So we did our solos, and Steve did his guitar solo. People, yay, very good. And I did my bass solo, hey, hooray. And say about 3 shows in, Dave goes, it's not working. We got to do something more entertaining.
Right.
So, Steve, you come out, you start to play your solo. Billy, you sneak up behind him, grab him, stop his guitar, and then you push him out of the way and you play your solo. Then he comes back and pushes you out, and then you chase each other around. And it was brilliant, and people loved it, because a lot of people, as much as they might or might not like a solo by anybody, it's only entertaining, really, if you're a musician, for the most part.
Right.
And so Dave made it entertaining for everybody. That was his idea. It was a brilliant idea, and he's got a bunch.
Totally. That was a highlight of the show for sure, man. So that tour opens August 16th at Hampton Coliseum in Hampton, Virginia. Do you remember that night and stepping on stage with this band for the first time? Do you remember that moment, or is that too long ago?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Right on.
It's etched in my mind, in part of my DNA. That stage was huge. It was giant. It was hot. We had a billion lights. Yeah. About 4 or 5 major venues were damaged by that tour, from the hanging points that you have to hang the PA and lights, and it was too heavy. So it was a massive, massive, massive show. And we were so jazzed to be up there, and we had a riot. Everybody in the band must have lost a lot of weight running back and forth under those hot lights. It was great. Steve and I weren't beginners, nor was Gregg.
Sure.
So, we knew what we were doing. And Dave gave us our head, go do your thing, bro, run, do whatever you like to do. And we had a lot of laughs on stage and backstage and off stage. It was a great tour. I'm still in touch very closely with Steve Vai and Gregg Bissonette. We talk with each other often. We're on a group chat. We're always back and forth. it made us brothers forever. So it was really a great experience.
That's awesome to hear, man. You guys did like 7 tracks off this album, which is crazy, really, when you think about it. It just goes to show, Dave obviously had a lot of pride in this album and was going to play it live, and I think that's cool.
Yeah, it went over great. I think we opened with Shy Boy. And it was amazing. We played in Buffalo. It was my hometown, and I played Shy Boy there for years in TALAS. And so the look on everyone's face, David Lee Roth, come on, and Shy Boy, the whole place went nuts. The jaws were on the floor. It was hilarious. Pretty cool.
That's awesome. Okay, dude, we have to talk about some of the fashion. Like, you guys are wearing some crazy shit. Like, it was peak 80s. It was just awesome, I thought. It was just fun coming off of that stage. Everything about it was just great.
Yeah, we just
We didn't really think about it.
it's what people were wearing at the time, and
That's
we
right.
did our thing, and that's how it was on stage at the time. I remember early Bowie when the first glam rock really came out in the early '70s. Matter of fact, I just had dinner with Woody Woodmansey, the last surviving Spider from Mars, the drummer for David Bowie. We talked about that time, and so it wasn't new. It had its time. I dress differently now, like everyone probably dresses differently than they did 40 years ago. So,
Yeah, totally. Like you kind of alluded to it, man. Was it as nuts on the road and backstage and all that as I think it probably was? Like, is there anything you can tell me? Like, it must have been a challenge to stay focused sometimes, right? Because you guys need to be on point every night. Was it a challenge with all these distractions?
no, actually, we never did any disrespectful stuff.
Right.
We had some incredible, beautiful girls come back, and nature took its course, but it was never anything smarmy or disrespectful at all. As a matter of fact, some of the girls that I met from back in the day are still friends of mine. Their grandmothers.
They send me pictures of their grandkids, and
I haven't even had an aspirin since 1971. I don't do any drugs at all.
Right.
Never tried cocaine. Smoked dope in high school a little bit. That was
Right.
about it.
Right.
And Steve was a non-drugger, and Gregg was a non-drugger, and our keyboard player Brett. We were all on one bus. Enjoyed red wine, some beer, maybe a shot once in a while, but we were not clean living, and we had fun. But there was nothing like some of the bands I've heard of that are out there,
doing just some awful stuff. And
dangerous things and being disrespectful to young ladies and things like that. That wasn't us. And Dave too. He was, there's a reputation, but Dave's a gentleman, and I've never seen him do anything disrespectful to a young lady ever. It's not in his character or DNA.
Playing like you guys do, you got to be on it. Like, you can't be all messed up. There's no way.
It was good, clean fun. We had a riot. We were adults, and we acted like adults, and we did adult things. But nevertheless, it was never anything that I wouldn't be able to tell someone with a clear conscience.
Right. Like, when you look back, Billy, like, how did you evolve as a musician and performer from that experience being in that band?
It was a PhD in Showbiz 101.
Right.
And touring with Van Halen in 1980 was the first step, because we saw how that band operated and thought, wow, this is how it was like a military operation. Bang, it was on. And they were on and on time and spot on and cues. And what Dave said on stage was figured out in advance. So you go up there and try to wing it with comedy and fall on your face. He knew what lines were going to work with the audience. And he was a grand master. It's just amazing. So we learned a lot in 1980. And then
Right.
when I was also playing with them in 86, we just saw it in action even more so. So it was a great way. So I'd go out and see frontmen in bands and think, oh my God, please somebody help him. Just had no idea how to be the guy that's in charge of the show like Dave was. He was the grand master.
No doubt.
Few, if ever, I ever came close. Generally in the bands I'm in, I'm either the founder of the band or some element of it that speaks about how things are presented. And unfortunately, in some bands where that can't be, I have to just bite my tongue and let them do things that I would never do on stage and would never allow myself to be a part of. But that's what you got to do. But Dave is the grandmaster, and I learned very much from him.
Is there a piece of advice or some key thing that you learned from Dave, that like a real key takeaway from him?
Hard to pick out one.
Right.
Just to be a total pro and be yourself. Be yourself. When I do interviews now, I don't have to prep for them or see the questions in advance. Or
Right.
when I get done with the show after show, I'm out in the audience or by the tour bus and hanging out and saying hello and signing to anything people put in front of me and taking all the photos. And everything I own comes from a fan buying a T-shirt or a ticket or a record. So I spend my time with them. Dave was always great with the fans, always took care of them whenever he could. At that level, it's hard sometimes to just walk out in public because it's
Sure.
chaos and people can end up getting hurt. But he was always great with fans too. And I had done that since the beginning anyway, but it was good to be reassured that someone of his stature would feel the same way.
Right. One more thing on Dave. What do you think is the biggest misconception people have about him, if there is one?
Oh, geez. That's a good point, if there is one, because you can kind of see what it is. What you see is what you get. And
Right.
he's an intelligent guy. He loves entertainment and loves being excited about things. And that excitement, when it comes off of him, is contagious. And he brings excitement about things wherever he goes, about something, whether it's about, the most varied, wild subjects you could imagine. But he's excited about it. And he makes you excited about it, too.
Right.
And that's why, as a frontman, he's so great because he got people excited about the band he was in. It was pretty amazing.
So you mentioned in some interviews, Billy, that you actually have some pro shot unreleased live video footage from this tour, dude. How do we make this happen? How do we get it out there? Who do we need to call?
Probably the most expensive law firm in Washington, D.C. No, I don't own it, so I can't exploit it.
Right. Oh, that's
But
a shame.
I have it.
Oh, I would
I have
love
it,
to
for
see
sure.
that. Let's change gears and talk about what you're doing now, man, because I am jazzed about this new band, GCS. Dude, what a trio this is. Dennis Chambers on drums, you on bass, Eric Gales. Like, he's a beast. Like, wow, this is going to be unreal, dude. Tell me about it.
Yeah, we're quite excited. I just posted the first thing about it yesterday, and it's already thousands and thousands of likes. And
I bet.
so we're very pleased. Dennis and I have played together before, and he's just probably one of the greatest drummers ever. Buddy Rich, Billy Cobham, Dennis Chambers is in there amongst the greatest drummers ever. And he's a sweet, wonderful guy on top of it. And my first experience with Eric Gales was a few months ago. We played together on a record with the great Carmine Appice. And we did a live show of that record. It was a Cactus tribute.
Right.
And I knew of Eric, but I didn't know much about him. And we played together on that. And I was just looking over at him, and he was looking at me. It was pretty cool, bro. And he's what a wonderful guy, and what a great player. My God, he's got a thing that automatically sets him apart from everybody instantly. I know a lot of great guitar players, played with a lot of wonderful, incredible players, just mind-blowing players, and they all got their thing. But Eric Gales, man, holy cow, he blew people's heads off.
And so we said, we've got to play together. So
As it turns out, he had been talking with Dennis about doing something anyway. So we're going to be out, I think, in November. That's the beginning of it. And then we'll see where it goes from there. I'd love to do some, recording, maybe live recording and whatever else. But we're just going to get together and play and just let nature take its course. And I can't wait to do it. Anytime I'm on stage with Dennis Chambers is a joy for me as a bass player. His pocket is so solid and so amazing. And Eric Gales, too. He's just an automatic time machine. He's in the groove. He can't get out of it. It's like he's trapped in it. It's hard for him to play anything that isn't awesome. So it's going to be a ride. We're very, very excited about it. Thanks for bringing it up.
Oh, my pleasure, man. Yeah, I've been into Eric since, 91 or 92 when that first album came out. He is unbelievable. Yeah.
So great.
Yeah. Talk to me a bit about this band, The Fell. I noticed you got some tour dates coming up late fall, going to Europe and stuff. I don't know much about the band, I'm going to admit. So tell me about it.
Well, it's Canadian-based out of Toronto.
Mike Crumpus played in Smash Mouth, got together with a vocalist from Australia, Toby Wren, great singer. And we're using a buddy of ours, Nick from Toronto, on drums as well. And we got together initially years ago. Mike called me. I didn't know him. And he found me on Facebook and dropped me a message. And we talked. And he goes, hey, you want to come down to the studio and play bass on a bunch of songs that I have. I said, okay. So I drove down. Hi, nice to meet you. Laid down bass to these songs. And as I'm hearing the songs, I'm going, these songs are great. What are you doing? Who is this singer? And so at the end of the session, he goes, oh, yeah, this guy, Toby Rand from Australia, great singer. And so, well, thanks for having me. He goes, well, yeah, I can pay you for your studio time, or unless you'd like to be involved. And I go, well, I'm in. I love these songs. So it's the first time a band was put together because the songs were good, as opposed to find 3 or 4 guys and then try and write something. And as a result, now we just had a new bunch of songs come in that are going to be included on our new record. Just over the top, just great pieces of music. Really great. Everyone I've played them for has gone crazy for them. So we went out and did a couple shows just to get our feet wet a few months ago. Went great. So we're going to start to expand that, do more shows, some West Coast shows, go over to the UK and Europe, and then do a lot more starting next year because the record will be coming out soon.
Oh, cool.
And if I may indulge or impose upon you, my band TALAS, we had a great singer, Phil Narrow, who sadly passed away right after we finished our last record. 1985 was the name of that record.
Right.
He was just a great, great, great singer and dear friend. Of course, the band couldn't go on without him. And we got lucky, and his son contacted us, and his son sings his ass off. And he's
Awesome.
great. And he's going to come out and do the shows with TALAS. And so we're very excited to be able to do TALAS again with Phil's son. So keeps it in the family. So we're supremely excited about that. He's already sung a bunch of demos for us. What a voice. So good. James Narrow is going to sing for TALAS. We'll be out probably next spring, end of the winter into next spring with that. So I'm excited about that also. So it's a busy time for me.
Wow. The fact that it's his son is so cool. You sound fired up about
Yeah.
it. That's awesome. Last but not least, you probably get tired of this question too, Billy, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Do you think we'll ever see album number 4 from the Winery Dogs, or even some gigs? Like, is that just in the ether and it's just whatever is going to happen kind of thing, or what? Because I just love that band. I just love it.
I know nothing. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I don't know anything about it. I haven't heard or spoken to or anything. So I
Okay.
apologize. I don't mean to be evasive, but I don't know anything about it. I'm happy now. I've got a bunch of things. Mr. Big is over also, but we ended the right way. A lot of people, do their farewell tour and then they go out again, and then they go out
Right.
again. So the Mr. Big farewell tour was a real farewell tour. That was it. And we had a wonderful time doing it. And everybody's doing fine in the band and wishing them all well. We ended on a high note. It was our intention to end on a
Right.
good point.
You guys
So-
might have been the
so
only
that-
band to do that.
Yeah, because a lot of guys going out now, as you get older, I know it's tough. I'm an old man now too.
Hey, man.
Luckily, my health is good. My bass playing, I'm practicing here every day still, all the time. My voice is still what it was back in the day. I went to a great vocal coach a few years ago, and I increased my range more than it normally was. So I'm lucky, and I'm thankful and grateful that I am. But we see a lot of players that are up in age, and I saw Richie Blackmore get up with the Deep Purple the other night, and it was great to see. But you could see
I know.
God bless him. I love Richie. I love that
Me
band.
too.
Same with Rod Stewart or the guy from the Scorpions. A lot of
Klaus.
people.
Yeah.
Well, I love them all, and I'm glad they're still doing it. But it's tough to see. It makes me even more grateful that I'm still in pretty good shape. I can still throw a punch, and I can still do a bass solo.
You're leading me nicely into one of my questions. I was going to ask you how you stay in such really good shape, because you're an active guy on stage, man. I mean, you must be, it's a clean living, as they say.
Pretty clean. I enjoy my little vino and maybe
Sure.
a Jack and Ginger or whatever.
Right.
We always loved going to Toronto or in Canada because the beer was stronger there. I think it was like the higher alcohol
That's right.
percent in Canada. So that was good. Yeah, I enjoy things like that. And I eat pretty good quality food, organic. I cook a lot myself and stuff like that.
Right.
But the drug thing, I think, takes a toll on some people.
Oh,
Maybe not
man.
all. Maybe not all. And if you do indulge, you're still my friend, and I still love you. And I'll keep going until I can't stand up anymore.
I love that. Now, back to you having a lot of shit going on all
Yeah.
the time. You've got a tattoo on your arm, says relentless. talk about how your work ethic and that dedication have served in you in your career, because it clearly has.
It has. I don't know where it came from.
Right.
And I wish I did, and I could explain it and pass it on to people. But I just got this thing where, especially with music and my bass playing, I just got to keep going. Humility is a very important thing, because only with humility can you open the door to more. When you think you're awesome or good or whatever, you're closing yourself off. And I've never thought highly of myself or my playing. And therefore, I'm always trying to be better as a person and as a player. Right. I just think that's important. I think that was the motivation. And I love music. I just love music and songs. I can sit down and trivia with people forever. The Blues Magoos and Joey D and the Starlighters and all these great bands that I grew up on. I still know all the songs by heart. They're all in my DNA. I practice hours every day. I get up, feed the cats, and practice for a couple hours every day. And my music collection is over 2 terabytes of well-curated iTunes with the right cover art and the right titles for the songs. I spent hours, arranging it and acquiring new stuff. So it's just a huge passion of mine. I don't know where it came from, but I'm so thankful for it. That it has driven me to continue playing, keep going, and just try to get better. Right now, I'm working on about 5 new things that I'm doing on bass that I've never done before, that have no relationship to things that I've done in the past, and developing them and working on them. Some of them might make it to the stage. Some of them might just be an exercise in how you do it, how you figure stuff out. But it's constantly going on. It's a funny thing.
That's awesome, man. You got time for a couple more?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay. There's a couple really divisive topics that come up online all the time, Billy. First off, what are your thoughts on, the use of backing tracks and all this AI technology? Speaking of aging singers, they want to stay on the road, so they're using this stuff so the fans, can hear what they want to hear. What do you think about that?
I don't like it. And Mr. Big, the last tour, so we brought out another singer to help to sing, some of the stuff he couldn't hit. Why not bring a real singer out and have them sing?
Totally.
I thought that was a good idea. And, you can lower keys and make it so you can sing. But if you can't sing, you can't sing. I don't just you faking it, Joni Mitchell, she's Canadian, isn't she?
That's right.
She went out and with an orchestra. Now, I remember her singing Both Sides Now with an orchestra. She was singing low. It was down there. But it was great. It was great. And Joni Mitchell, come on, one of the grand, most amazing artists ever to live.
Exactly.
Ever. But she sang and she did it right. So I don't know, there's bands that go out there and the bass isn't really plugged in and they're playing. And I have taken so much time, effort, and energy to try to do my best to go out there and play to a fake track. I simply could not do it. I couldn't do it. I won't ever do it. Now, some people got to do what they got to do. Okay, that's your thing. It's up to the audience in the end. If the audience says, we don't care that they're just lip syncing and faking it.
I know.
We want to be here. Well, okay. God bless you. Go for it. That's cool. But I just, it's not my thing, and I don't want to be a part of it.
I don't blame you. I mean, when you're working your ass off like you do, and the guy next to you is phoning it in like that, that's brutal. Yeah, totally.
And phoning it in on a cordless phone.
Exactly. And you got these 100% AI generated songs and full bands on Spotify right now that are complete AI. It's insane. And they're getting billions of plays. Maybe not billions, but millions or whatever it is, right? It's crazy.
I think it's a phase. Everything will pass. Prior to the Beatles, everybody had the Brill Cream haircut and the Elvis look. That went away. The Beatles came in. The Beatles grew their hair long. After that, longer. Then the hippie thing came, and then the glam thing came, and then the things are always changes. Fear not, change is coming around the corner again. And usually the backlash is something very different. So it could be acoustic guitars only, no mics, everybody in a circle singing and playing.
I hope you're right.
No technology. Who knows?
I hope you're right, man. Okay, I've kept you long enough. I'm going to close it out, and I got 3 rapid fire questions for you. I'm going to put you on the spot. You ready?
Okay.
What's the first album or song that really made you sit up and pay attention?
8 Miles High by the Byrds was one of them.
Nice.
Because that 12-string guitar just blew my mind.
8 miles high, and when to touchdown, you'll find that it's stranger than known. Signs in the street that say where you're going are somewhere just being their own.
Having a rave up with the Yardbirds, also, that was one of the most important first records of mine.
Give me a stop out of a cookie. She must have thought I was a real concept. We got out the train and I felt oh, looked so good, Jack couldn't let it go. Get along, sweet little woman, get along. Oh, right round the train gets a rolling all night long. The train gets a rolling all night long. The train gets a rolling all night long. The train gets a rolling all night long.
Okay, you're stuck on a desert island, Billy, and you can only bring one of your basses with you. Which one are you bringing?
Whichever one is most waterproof and saltproof.
Oh, you're being literal.
I'd have to spray seal clear lacquer on it to make sure I could have it for many, many, many years.
Fair enough. I like that answer. Okay, and last but not least, what's one album that you think should have been a massive global hit but remains a hidden gem for you?
King's X.
Yes.
Gretchen Goes to Nebraska.
Good one.
Should have been the biggest record of the decade and is in my heart.
Man, Doug Pinnick, I mean, come on.
Mind blowing.
Right?
Wonderful guy, too. What a tone, what a bass, what a voice. Writing.
Right.
The whole band, too. So great, the whole band. Seen him live a couple times. Spectacular.
Yeah, I saw him once. Yeah, Dogman was probably their height popularity-wise, and they just couldn't kick it up a notch. It was too bad. You know, I'm always selling that. I'm always selling that band. Come on, listen to these guys, you know. Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, I turned thousands of people onto them. Wait till you hear this.
Exactly.
Maybe. And then they went out and turned another 1,000.
Right.
What a great band. I love those guys completely.
Okay, man, I'll let you go. That's a wrap. Thanks so much for joining me, Billy. Technical issues aside, it was fucking great. That was a ton of fun. It was a thrill to meet you, man. I wish you all the best.
My pleasure. Thank you very much. You're very kind. And send me a link and I'll post this interview wherever I can.
All right. Where can people follow you? See what you're up to. All these bands you're in. Where can they go to follow what you're doing?
I got a Facebook Musicians and Band page and my Facebook personal page, my Instagram page. And I think there's even a Twitter still floating around out there. And I read and answer every message. It is a Herculean task.
That's incredible, dude.
And I don't hire anybody to speak for me. So that's me. And you're welcome to write to me anytime.
Good to know. Thanks to you guys for checking us out. We really appreciate you taking the time to hang with Billy and I. You can find us on all the socials wherever podcasts are broadcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, do me a solid. Like, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. And until next time, on behalf of Billy and I, keep rock alive out there, people. Crank some, eat 'em, and smile. Right? Okay, peace out.
All right, take care.
Thanks, buddy.
Bye-bye. Okay, bro.
Elvis has left the building.